So yesterday we done this example using ng-root directive. So today we can continue with this directive, ng-style directive. So ng-style directive is nothing but a style attribute in HTML. So in HTML, use style attribute to provide the CSS properties to the HTML elements. In AngularJS also use ng-style directive to bind the dynamic styles, okay, to the HTML elements. So use this directive to bind the styles to the HTML elements. ng-style directive allows you to set CSS styles on HTML elements conditionally. So based on the condition, we can bind styles to the HTML elements. Okay, for example, if you select one theme, so it will change the theme based on your selection. Suppose in this example, if you click on particular button, okay, when you click on the button, so if you want to change the uh, paragraph background color and text color, so we can do that one like so in .NET we can see. So create one paragraph, .NET course content here. Okay, this is one paragraph in .NET course page. Input type equal to button and value equal to change styles. So close this button. So when you click on this button, so we have to apply the styles, okay, from the controller. Okay, we have to bind the styles from the controller. So use ng style directive to bind CSS styles. So this is the ng style example. So compulsory we have to remember this syntax. First of all, double quotes and flower bracket. Within flower bracket we can use background color, okay, background color, and again use expression, okay, use expression. In this expression, so we can call one variable, so we can bind that variable with the background color, my bg color. So this is the variable, so we can bind this variable with the color code from the controller. So this is the scope variable, okay. Use ng click directive my function, change styles. So my function to change styles. So where we can write where we can implement this function in app.js file. So for .NET template, we have separate controller is there, .NET controller. So we have to implement this controller. Okay, separately created controllers for all the templates. So use that controller only. My app dot controller .NET controller comma function scope, again scope dot function name equal to function. Okay, when you click on the button, this function will be executed in .NET controller only. Okay, not in home controller. Only this particular controller will execute this function. So again, so we can copy this variable scope dot bg color equal to red. So we can call color code or color names, okay, from controller. So now run this example. So go to .NET. So here button is there. Click on this button. So some error is there. ng style my bg color again equal to here. Okay, you can see here. So background color is changed to paragraph. When you click on this button, color is applied to the paragraph from controller. So now you can see in inspect. So paragraph ng style equal to background color my bg color variable is there, but AngularJS internally add style attribute to the particular HTML element. Okay, style equal to background color red. Okay, this one is added. Okay, AngularJS internally added style attribute to the paragraph. And again comma color, so we can bind color also, text color txt color. So we can bind this variable also from here. Scope dot text color equal to white color. So refresh this one. Okay, this is not saved here, so save this one. Okay, so this is done using ng style directive. So background color and text color is applied from controller. So like this we can create variables and we can bind the styles from the controller. Okay, in real-time applications also we can bind these uh, themes or styles from the backend. Backend means server database. So AngularJS internally add style attribute to apply these styles to the appropriate element. Next, ng-show directive. So ng-show directive nothing but show method in jQuery. Okay, this ng-show directive uses to uh, show the hidden elements. Okay, this ng-show directive shows or hides the given HTML element based on the expression provided to the ng-show attribute. So the expression is provided to the ng-show attribute means, so we can provide expression to the show ng-show directive, that is true or false. So if we pass the value as true, so it will display the HTML element, okay, given HTML element. If we give the value false to the ng-show directive, so it will hide the element. So for example, take one more button, type equal to button and value equal to show element. Next ng click equal to function show. So paragraph here, this is example. Ng show directive example. Okay, use style directive, display none. Okay, now this paragraph is hidden. So when you click on the button, so we have to display this paragraph. So use ng show directive equal to, so we can bind the variable either true or false. Okay, only two values we can bind to this ng show directive, that is true or false, either true or false. Okay, if ng show equal to true, this paragraph will be displayed. If ng show equal to false, the paragraph will be hidden. So my flag, so this is the variable, so we can bind this variable in this controller. So create one more function, scope dot function show, scope dot, so copy this variable my flag equal to true. Okay, we are passing true to the my flag variable. So when you click on this button, so my flag value is changed to true, so that it will be displayed. So we can remove this one. Here we can create the variable as false. First paragraph will not display. So when you click on button, this function will be executed and change the value. Okay. from false to true. Okay, now paragraph is hidden. So this paragraph is there. So you can see ng show equal to my flag variable is there. Class equal to ng scope, ng hide. So two classes added. So you can observe here in style part, display none important. Style automatically added to this paragraph. Okay. So now when you click on this button, so paragraph is displaying and ng hide class is removed. You can see now ng hide class is there. Okay, in class attribute. So when you click on this button, paragraph is displaying and the ng hide class is removed. Okay, so ng show directive change the value my flag true, so that paragraph is displaying. Next, ng hide directive. So this also like ng show directive. ng show directive shows or hides the given HTML element based on the expression provided to the ng hide attribute. So here also we can provide only two values, either true or false. So we can create one button like this. Hide element function hide. So we can create one more function, scope dot function hide. Next, ng scope dot my flag equal to false. Okay, if paragraph is displaying, the value is changed to false, then paragraph will be hide. Show paragraph and hide paragraph. Okay, there is no toggle here, only two directives is there, show and hide. Okay, to hide the to show the HTML given HTML elements based on the expression provided to the ng hide attribute. So we have to use this ng hide directive for the particular element. Next, ng href attribute. ng href nothing but href attribute in HTML. So in HTML directly we can give the path to the links like this. Use anchor tag, go to Yahoo website. So directly we can give href http://www.yahoo.co.in. So directly we can give these URLs to the links in HTML. But in AngularJS there is a directive to bind the links dynamically. That is nghref directive. Okay, this nghref directive also internally add href attribute to the particular link to bind the link to this URL to the link. Okay, just you can bind the variable like this in the expression. So we can take, so copy this URL, okay, in.yahoo.com. Yahoo link. This is the variable. So we can bind this variable from controller. Okay, in AngularJS, the most important feature is anywhere you can write the code. Scope dot Yahoo link equal to this one. So this link is bind to the Yahoo link variable. So this variable is there. So when you click on this link, it will go to the Yahoo website. Target equal to blank. Okay, it is not going. Okay, we have to bind the variable like this. Okay, now our website is opening in new tab. So that is the usage of nghref directive. So we can bind the links dynamically from the backend. Next, ng source. So AngularJS directive ng source is used to prevent the browser from loading the resource. Ngsrc is means we can bind uh, image paths dynamically to the given HTML element like images controllers, okay, image tags. So use ng src directive to bind the image path dynamically. For example, so we can take one image tag ng src directive. So this directive also add src attribute to the image tag when binding the image path to the image tag. So profile path height equal to just 100 pixels and width equal to 100 pixels, and close this one. So all these things I will show in another example, but here I am showing only just examples. Scope dot profile path equal to, so we can give the image path here. So which one we can give? Penguins.jpg. In images folder slash penguins.jpg. Okay, this path is added to this image. Here you can see the image path also bind from controller. So go to inspect. and you can see here image tag ng source ng-src attribute images penguins.jpg. Okay, path is added to this ng source attribute, but again src attribute is added internally. Okay, images and penguins.jpg file. So based on this ng src attribute, the ng src directive will be executed in the browser. Okay, will be displayed in the image. Displayed the image in the browser. Okay, so this is the variable. So we are binding this variable from controller. Okay, dynamically we can bind the image. Okay, we can bind the profile image based on the credentials. So if you log into the application, your logo will be displayed. If I log into this application, my logo will be displayed. So I will explain that one also in next in future session. Next, not important, all these directives. So here is the one-way data binding and two-way data binding. The most important topic is in AngularJS. So one-way data binding is an approach where a value is taken from the data model and inserted into the HTML element. Okay, there is no way to update model from view. So then one-way data binding means just we are showing the data from the database on the view on the HTML page. Okay, approach where a value is taken from the data model. So data model means database. So value taken from the database and inserted into the HTML element. Just showing the data on the web page. So there is no way to update model from view. Okay, update model from view. So we cannot update data from the view in database. So that is only one way. So we are binding the data from the database. That's it. So we cannot update. So two-way data binding means data binding is when the model changes, the view reflects the change. Okay, if database any changes is occurred in the database, view part also immediately reflects, and vice versa. If any changes is made in view, the changes will be reflected in the database also. So that is called two-way data binding. A two-way binding in AngularJS created with the ng model directive. Okay, that is uh, one-way binding and two-way binding. So I will explain broadcast and emit in later sessions, and on also. In AngularJS, scope, root scope, and difference between root scope and scope. So these three are important in interviews. Okay, and the interviewer can ask the questions based on the scope and root scope. So what is the scope in AngularJS, and what is the root scope, and what is the difference between those root scope and scope? So scope is a JavaScript object which is used for communication between controller and view. Okay, scope is a common is this scope object is used for communication between controller and view. So that means Here we define the variables, right? Profile path and Yahoo link. So we can access these scope variables and scope functions in controller, right? In controller we can access through this object only. So without this object we cannot access scope variables and scope functions from the view. That is the communication between view and controller. Okay, that is the communication between controller and view. So basically scope binds a view term element to the view model and functions defined in a controller. Okay, so these functions depend in controller only. So that is the scope. And root scope is every application has a single root scope only. Okay, this is the main scope for this scope. So for each and every application has only one root scope. All other scopes are descendant scopes of the root scope. If you create any scopes in the application, all are child scopes only. Scopes provide separation between the model and view, and root scope is the topmost scope. An app can have only one root scope, which will be shared among all the components of the app. So this root scope share the all components in the application, hence it acts as like a global variable. And this is the difference between scope and root scope. Um, Next one. So I will explain all these one. Digest to apply, and this expression is also completed. Okay. Today we can start. Tomorrow we can start new concept, that is filters in AngularJS. So tomorrow we can continue with the filters.